Hi guys, James Meehan here. Started out with Ashley back in March, and things got kind of crazy with quarantine. So we are the quarantine team of yoga teacher training. Advice for someone thinking about taking a YTT program: do it. If you're thinking about it, if you have any sort of interest in it, you're going to thank yourself once you've gone through the process. It is challenging mentally, physically, spiritually. It will make you think about things differently than you ever have. If you even have any sort of interest, like I said, if that spark is there, listen to that impulse and do it. I'm a very impulsive person by nature, but this was an impulse that it became overwhelming. It got to a point where I was taking classes, multiple times a week, and the one-size-fits-all sweater yoga class wasn't doing it for me. I wanted to go deeper. This opportunity presented itself, and I'm so glad that I did it. How far have I come since the first day I tried yoga? A long way. I did never think I'd be going through a teacher training program. I never really imagined myself as an instructor, but then as my practice got more developed, and the spirituality behind it, the ways of thinking, yoga goes so far beyond the mat, and just sweating and being in a hot room and holding a bunch of calisthenic poses. It's a way of life. It changes the way that you think. And where I was from day one, mentally, physically, spiritually, I'm a completely different person almost a year later. I first started taking yoga consistently just about a year ago, not even a year ago. Went from being completely frustrated and out of shape to being as limber as I've ever been in my life. More level-headed, emotionally sound. Yoga has done things for me that I never thought were possible, and it's been an amazing journey. I'm so happy to have found Ashley as a teacher, as a friend, and a mentor to continue this journey as long as it will go on. How far have I come since the first day of YTT? That's been interesting. I was going through a bit of a rough patch at the end of last year, and when I reached out to my friend initially, saying that I wanted to become a spin instructor, he recommended doing a yoga teacher training class just because I didn't have any experience in leading people through fitness classes. So I was like, okay, let's do that. If this is what's going to get me to where I want to be. And I scratched and clawed and kept, searching for something. And finally, Alex, one of Ashley's former students, said, hey, if you're going to do training, reach out to Ashley. I'm sure she'd love to talk to you. And then we met together one night, had dinner, and by the end of that conversation, I knew that I had found the person that I wanted to be my mentor, my teacher, and it's been a great experience. I think I've learned a lot. I have grown as a person. My mentality has shifted on so many things in a very good way. I approach issues that I have with people from a different perspective, or perceived issues that people have with me from a different perspective. All of my relationships, ways of thinking, everything is challenged when you go through a YTT in the best way. And I think Ashley's a fantastic person to lead you through that journey, through that work, and teach you, what questions you need to ask yourself, and why, and just reconnecting to what's important to you, and why do you feel the way that you feel, and why it's okay to feel that way, or why it's what needs work. There's so many things to that, and I'd say I've grown immensely from this process. Is YTT or yoga different than what you imagined? Um, Quarantine kind of changed things. Definitely caught me off guard with some of the questions we were asked. I didn't think I needed so much work on myself internally. And when a lot of the questions of reflection came through on the different weekends, they were questions that I didn't necessarily want to answer or never really thought about, but a lot of that work has been really great and has taught me a lot, and woken me up to a lot of things that either I wasn't conscious of before or I was consciously suppressing or avoiding. So I think that's been the biggest change for me, just mentally, is understanding those different pieces of your consciousness that aren't ones that you want to bring up so often, or they're not easy to talk about, but you need to understand them, mold them, work on them, and practice making yourself okay, because it's important. What has taking yoga teacher training during COVID been like for you? Honestly, it was a little tough at first. I had a lot of expectations about what I thought I was getting into. Certainly didn't think I was signing up for an online experience, but Ashley's been great, and it's been very rewarding. How is teaching yoga an act of service to the community? That's kind of a loaded question. I think that it's something that has been passed down for so many thousands of years, to make people's lives better, to make them more conscious, more present, to just unlock certain things or open up your mind to certain things that you would never even think about if you didn't take the time to notice them or practice intentionally thinking about them. And so I think, being an instructor, going through this process and learning those things that you can share with other people is really important, and it's more of a pay it forward type of situation where once you learn it, you should pass that on. Advice to give someone that's about to take their first yoga class: go in with an open mind, effort less, don't try to overextend yourself. Wherever you are, that's exactly where you're supposed to be. I went from not being able to touch my toes to being able to completely fold over myself and grab my ankles on the other side. It takes time. It's a practice. It's not perfection. It's constant work. There's always another level. And even if you are frustrated with where you are, or if you feel like you're not enough, you are. And if you're frustrated, that means you're doing something right, because it should be hard. It should be challenging. You need to lean into those things that make you feel uncomfortable, because the majority of the time when it doesn't feel right, or it doesn't feel like you can do it, that's something that you need to work on a little bit more, and you'll be glad that you did. How does it feel to be about to graduate as a certified yoga instructor? It's weird. I never thought I was going to add that title to my name, but I'm immensely proud of that. Happy to have done this. It's been an amazing experience, and I hope to continue on and do a 300-hour training if Ashley will stick around long enough to let that happen here in Tampa. It's been amazing. It's a weird feeling, but it's a great feeling. It's a little somber. There's so many times where it's been, oh man, I've got yoga this weekend. I can't go out and do whatever I want to do. But when you commit yourself to a goal, this is just a perfect reminder of it, because it takes a lot of your time. It's not just something to be taken lightly, and to have someone like Ashley to hold you accountable, as well as the group there. Everybody's going through this journey together. You're all committing your time, your talents, your experiences, together, and there's this collective consciousness that happens when everyone comes together as a group, and I'm gonna miss that. I mean, we'll all still be connected via the internet, and some of us are still here locally, but definitely we'll miss the every other week coming together as a group and going on this journey together of learning and growing and coming together. Do I feel that YTT has been worth the investment monetarily, spiritually, physically? Absolutely. In all aspects there. It's been challenging in the virtual setting. I really was looking forward to coming together as a group. We haven't been able to do that so often, but the time that we have had together has been great. The time that we've had together on Zoom has been great, really informative. I think we've all come a long way from where we first started, and I'm very excited for what the future has in store for me as an instructor, as a yogi, and where this will all take me on this journey. Fears I have about teaching. I would say I'm not 100% confident not being in front of my notes. That will come with time, but I'm just ready to do it. Jump in with both feet. I'm that kind of person where I'm not just gonna dip my toe in the water. I've got to go all in, or I'm not gonna do it. So I don't really have a whole lot of fears, mostly forgetting poses or sequences or whatever, but that will all be ironed out with experience, and I know I've been well trained. It's funny, I was talking to Ashley the other day and said I might have a gig lined up for after graduation, but I think I need more experience, and she's like, well, you have 200 hours of experience. You haven't taught a whole group yet, but you have 200 hours of training. Trust your training. And that's just so true in that trusting what you've been taught, what you've learned, and what you know, and just go with it. It'll never be perfect, but you got to start creating and putting things out there to move forward. I think that's it. Peace.